Hello and welcome to the big picture. The US presidential primaries are getting to be more and more interesting. The victory of Bernie Sanders of the Democrats and Donald Trump of the Republicans in New Hampshire, defying their party establishments, is being seen by some quarters as a tectonic shift. The comfortable over 20 points victory for Sanders over Hillary Clinton has stunned many. As far as Donald Trump is concerned, a rank outsider within his party, his win in New Hampshire is being seen as a clear signal that he is not going to fade away in a hurry as some earlier felt. Though there is a long road ahead before the final picture emerges in July, can we say that New Hampshire and Iowa before this has given some evidence of what is to come? What are the reasons why two rank outsiders like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are making such inroads? Where is it all heading? We will discuss all this today with Meera Shankar, former Indian ambassador to the United States, Professor Chintamani Mahapatra, Chairman, Center for American Studies at the JNU, Manoj Joshi, senior journalist, and Ramesh Gupta, former Chairman, Indo-American Political and Economic Forum. Welcome to all of you. Meera Shankar, is this some kind of a tectonic shift?
Well, we have to wait and see what the final results are.
People are saying that even after the New Hampshire, it's a tectonic shift.
Well, it is, in a sense, it reflects the anger and the disillusionment of voters with the conventional political system. So they are expressing their anger by choosing,
rank outsiders.
Rank outsiders and those who are taking ideologically extreme positions on both sides.
Right.
This is, in a sense, a trend which we've seen across the world, including in Europe, especially after the 2008 financial crisis,
Right.
when trust in governments has begun to decline. And in America, there was this strong thing of Washington being locked in gridlock and politics as usual, of big money having too much of a say in politics. And that anger you're seeing reflected in these surprising results where conventional candidates are being sidelined and mavericks or those taking more extreme ideological positions are being rewarded.
Professor Mahapatra, do you see this as, anger showing, or is it something more?
I would say this is not anger. Many media people are saying this is American people are angry. I think American people are frustrated. And I would say this is a tectonic shift. But how durable is the shift is yet to be seen. Secondly, this is not the first time it's happening in the United States. There was a time of the Great Depression and how Hoover lost and how FDR came to power. So at very many periods in American history, this kind of tectonic shift, short-term shift has come about, and this is nothing new.
You think that, in the last 40, 50 years, have we seen anything like this in the...
No, not in the last 40, 50 years. But what is important is why this shift is more important.
Exactly.
First of all, the middle class is getting wiped out slowly. Secondly, only 1% of the people, they control 40% of the income. And in fact, 400 families control that much of money, wealth, which is owned by 150 million people below 50% of the American. So there is a frustration, no jobs. About 15% of the people in reality are out of jobs, they're unemployed, although the government statistics says only 8%. And college kids after passing out have no jobs at all. And recession is yet to be tackled in the US, although the statistics is showing little positive, people are frustrated.
Manoj?
Actually, I would say that jobs are now, they show, government figures show unemployment below 5% in the US from a high of 10% or more after 2008. But wages are flat and much of this employment is at a low level. So that dwindling middle class and issues of equity, I think, are on the table.
Manoj, it's very interesting that there are these two, extremely, ideological but far apart. One is to the left, and another is to the far right. How is it that these two, have become such a, have such important figures now? How do you explain that? Well, on the one hand, you're talking about people being frustrated, but Donald Trump, is he able to respond to that frustration?
See, both of them are representing angry, frustrated communities. Actually, the people who support them come from similar backgrounds, except that one tends to be ideologically a Republican, the other tends to be a Democrat. Of course, young people, overwhelmingly white people, they're supporting Trump. In the case of Sanders, you have young from across the spectrum are supporting him. So you basically are looking at a system, a political system which is in crisis, which has not been recognized. For example, if you look at the US House of Representatives, it's virtually impossible to change it in any election because the seats are gerrymandered.
Right.
In the sense that the elites are themselves setting the seats,
right,
and they make the
They
constituency
redraw the
boundaries in such a
district
manner
boundaries.
that it's very difficult to change anything there. So there's a kind of a gridlock. Legislation is not passed. You have Democratic presidents and you have Republican majorities in the. So it's not a very healthy situation. It's a society. Which needs it's a governance system which needs to change, but it is not united on the idea. So people are expressing their frustration, but that idea that we need change is simply not finding the right channels. Meaning, in the sense, someone who says, "Well, I think these are the solutions," and of course, the United States system is deliberately built towards conservatism.
Right.
So changing it is not easy.
It's not going to be easy. Mr. Gupta?
I agree with the panelist. People are frustrated. The middle class, as Ambassador Shankar said, middle class is completely wiped out. I know people who are highest paid, they are being fired and lost job. And younger people are being hired in place of them. In place of one, they hire two people. So it's a frustration in both the parties. There were some outsiders to come. I think, I'm from Republican town, okay? Bush country, they call it, from Texas. So I really prefer Donald Trump. He's a very successful businessman. If he comes, he might revive the economy. That's what people are banking on, and that's where people are supporting him.
Is it all about economy?
Well, that is part of it, but I think the candidates have been playing on different issues. I think Donald Trump has played on fears of immigration from the Latin American countries, on fears of terrorism.
No, and he makes these controversial statements that Muslims should be barred for some time in this country and things. So and they're all getting some traction there.
Yeah, so he's played on those fears, the rise of ISIS, the fact that it's growing, or that the US, despite being there and helping the Iraqi government militarily, is finding it difficult to roll it back. So all these issues give rise to apprehensions, unease, insecurity in the public mind. And Donald Trump, of course, also on competing with China, Mexico, and so on, and making America great. I think these are the themes that he has touched upon. And on the other side, I think Bernie Sanders has been harping on issues of equity,
right,
on making America a fairer place. So he has been offering, free, he says he will introduce free public universities for the young, equal pay for women, and that he will tax Wall Street more to fund some of these programs. So Bernie Sanders is a self-declared socialist, and he has not shied away from taking left liberal positions. And those positions are resounding with the young.
Exactly.
And even with women. Because
and those positions which
more women have supported Sanders than Hillary, which has come as a bit of a
those
surprise.
Positions which Sanders is taking is, quite opposite, dead opposite of what Trump is taking.
Yes.
But still,
there are two totally different ways, radical ways of fixing what is wrong with America. The question is, will America be able to find that middle ground, that consensus, to steer ahead?
Right. Professor Mahapatra, Iowa, now New Hampshire, are these two states in any way representative of what we may ultimately see?
If you go by the history of American presidential election, sometimes those who have won in New Hampshire and Iowa, they have made it to the White House. But at other times, they have failed. Bill Clinton lost in New Hampshire, but later he claimed that I am the comeback kid, and he came back.
Right.
Now, Hillary Clinton is trying to do the same thing. So this is not representative. After all, there are 50 states and District of Columbia who are going to vote. This is only 2 states.
Right.
But what is important is these 2 different solutions to the current problem. Both the leaders, Trump as well as Sanders, they have identified the problem that is the frustration of the people. But they are going to offer radically different solution, one extreme right, one extreme left. Now, as time comes, I'm sure new things are going to come up where they will say, Bernie Sanders, socialist? America is going to go socialist? Bernie Sanders had his honeymoon in Moscow. Oh, he went to meet Castro. He did. He went to Nicaragua and supported the Sandinistas.
Sandinistas.
So these things will come up. And how
How?
it will
Don't tell me
play
it has
out?
not come up so far.
So far, not in a big way, not in a big way. But as time comes, when new kind of background of these 2 leaders come up, whether the establishment political parties are going to be able to replace them, we have to see. There is something called push poll. And the push poll is one of the best ways to remove the candidates from contesting. This is what they do. Suppose Bernie Sanders becomes the president and he's going to put a tremendous amount of taxes on everybody. Are you going to vote? They
So
will
these
ask-
kind of propaganda
Tactics.
it's going to be there, Manoj. Now, apart from this propaganda, the thing is that Hillary Clinton, some maybe about a few months back or maybe a year back, when she was considered the leading.
Walk-in.
It was virtually a walk-in because there was even now till Donald Trump came up, Republicans didn't seem to have a candidate of choice. Now, what is happening to her? Why is it? And one of those things that history could be made with having her as the first woman president of the United States. All that is no more. You don't think that matters anymore?
You see, the thing in the US politics, sometimes what happens is it's like the US conservative movement. So when initially, when Goldwater lost in 1964, people thought that's the end of American conservatives, the right-wing conservatives. And then we have Reagan, who came up so strongly that people thought Reaganism would never end. So what I'm trying to get at is that the political spectrum keeps shifting in the US. See, these political parties in the US are not orthodox parties. These are really electoral combines, meaning they come together in election. Not only that, if you have a Democratic Party under Hillary contesting election, it will be different from a Democratic Party under Sanders contesting the same election. So it matters on what kind of constituencies you get together and what kind of constituencies you manipulate into winning that process. The US system is very archaic in some ways. You see, and that's what I was trying to get at. It's almost what now, a 150-year-old constitution.
Right.
You see, and they are very proud of the fact that they have not changed it much. But the fact of the matter, as I explained to you, that if you are getting gridlocked in the, you have elections every 2 years. We complain when we have assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections, and there's a continuous cycle of elections. In America, every 2 years they're having elections, and so the moment you are elected, you start campaigning for your next election.
Right.
So I think the US perhaps may go deeper into a political crisis before they can sit together and come up with a plan to try and diffuse some of these going over the cliff kind of situations. It's become almost routine now that budgets are not passed.
Exactly.
And
Crisis after crisis, and the budget. Every president seems to be facing some kind of a crisis.
but that's why, because of this gridlock, because
Exactly.
the system was meant to do something else, but it ended up doing something else.
Mr.
The
Gupta?
system as it's designed today rewards ideological purity because they've gerrymandered the districts, redrawing them to have majorities. So the earlier need to be in the middle to appeal to voters of both parties for election is no longer the case. So as a result, you're getting much more polarization within Washington itself.
Okay. Mr. Gupta?
I don't think whether it's an issue with the electorate, whether women become the president or not.
It's
Before
not an
Obama
issue.
was coming,
You don't think it's an issue?
no. When Obama was coming, people said black cannot become president of America. So he became. So issue is not the one which will hurt Hillary. Is they call it Washington insider, this feeling the people that they are the establishment. So they want to get out of establishment candidates. That's why the others are getting benefit out of it. So let us see. It's just race is just started.
Sorry.
It will change. I hope eventually. So, in my opinion, this is going to be very tough, and it's very hard to tell who will get the nomination from Democrats
Yeah,
and
at
Republicans.
this point, yes.
I
Meera,
was
I'll come to
saying
you.
that if you look at President Obama's election victory, he created a coalition, a new political coalition of African Americans, Hispanics, youth, young people, and women. And for Hillary, I
This was
think
supposed to
this,
be. This was supposed to be
this
her
was
base
supposed
also.
to be her coalition, but from at least New Hampshire, youth have deserted her in
And
large
even women
numbers.
have
Women
backed her.
are kind of half and half,
Youth
though
is the
more
key.
have gone
Yes.
with Bernie Sanders. So the ones who have supported her are over 65 and rich. So her support base, she has to mobilize more energetically. But yes, it's going to be a bruising race ahead on both sides, and it's too early to say what the outcome is
Right.
going to be.
Professor Mahapatra?
I would say that during the election campaign, Hillary Clinton did try to capitalize on the women issues.
Yes.
And during the election in New Hampshire, before the members of the Democratic Party would go to vote, she used Madeleine Albright.
Right.
And Madeleine Albright said,
And Gloria Steinem also.
any woman not voting for Hillary Clinton has a place in hell. She said like that also. But the fact remains that young girls, in the
49%
colleges,
are supposed to have voted for Bernie Sanders now. Women.
You take any demographic, Bernie Sanders has done much better than
In New
Hillary
Hampshire.
Clinton. Yeah.
The
My 35-year-old niece in California has been campaigning for him
for Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
in Iowa.
In a lot of youngsters seems to have got
Enthused.
by what Sanders is saying. So but as he was pointing out, all the dirty tricks will come out and to brand him as a socialist or a communist also probably. And you think those dirty tricks will be able to steer the pitch away from
Well,
him?
they
In the
may-
past, it has done like that.
See,
Now we don't know.
They may wait till he weakens Hillary sufficiently. And there are also rumors that people like Michael Bloomberg
Yes.
are thinking of if
an
Hillary
independent.
continues to decline, then he may step in. But if he leaves it too late, he won't be able to.
CNBC and Fox News are dead against Sanders.
Sanders.
So there are established even media fellows who are controlled by the Wall Street, because Bernie Sanders, the kind of language he's using, this is 1% America, and 93% of the income, new income generated in last several years, 93% goes to 1%, not to the rest of the Americans. So Wall
But
Street is
Manoj,
angry.
how much is the media going to influence these elections? Have in the past and now, is there going to
See,
be
let
any
me tell
difference?
you, in 1980 when Reagan came, the right-wing establishment did not trust the liberal media. So they created this whole culture of direct mailing. There's a guy called Robert Viguri. He had set up an office, so they used computers that had just come up, and with direct mailing to people, to their faithful, to bypass the liberal media. Now we have the internet. So, you have there are people who are no longer viewing the...
This is what Obama cashed in on.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, the thing is that how you communicate, the point is to get your message across. Now, the question is what technique you use, and especially in an advanced society like the United States, which is well wired and networked. I'm sure that there are geniuses there trying to devise something or the other. But I wanted to make one other point in connection with my previous thing, that what has happened since 1980, by free trade, America gutted its own industry. And the gain went to China. Along with the industry, the powerful unions got gutted.
Right.
So the balance of power in the United States between the
Working
capitalist class and this, and American unions were not like socialist unions, okay? So they were the kind of a collegial thing,
Yeah.
but they bargained for good wages for their people. Today there's an anti-union mood. In Wisconsin they've been banned. So this whole balance of power in that society has been severely upset. And so we are seeing now a kind of a backlash against that from people. You can't get minimum wages in the US.
Exactly.
Meaning,
One of-
so it's in the richest society in richest country in the world doesn't want to pay minimum wages for its guys. So there is a problem there, and I think the people are recognizing it. The only other problem is in America, unlike India. In India, poor people vote more frequently. In America, poor don't. The rich are more dedicated voters. So, and the poor stay away, or they are disfranchised. They're not even registered voters. So that's the big problem.
Mr. Gupta, do you think that will change this time? There's a possibility that the more and more the poor people will go out and vote because of the kind of traction which both these candidates are getting, who are especially Sanders is getting as compared to Hillary, or in Trump as compared to others. You think that this election may see a completely different way of how people approach this election?
The irony is that America was dead against socialism. And this guy, Sanders, is a self-claimed socialist.
Yes.
And still he is attracting a lot of young people, to support him. But again, when this is not issue yet, but it will eventually come up. Media will, media will explore the issue and, come up with that, just like against, what's his name, Donald Trump. Issue is not yet. It'll come out that he filed 3 bankruptcies. He's not a very successful businessman. Even you might have heard that one prince, they said that he bailed him out from the bankruptcies. So these are just starting stage. And
Okay.
again,
Can I
it's
make
very
a
hard to
quick
predict.
point on this.
Okay, yeah.
I want to make a quick point on socialism. Now, yes, it's true that America is against the European kind of socialism, but America has a very deep streak of domestic, you can call it socialism, from the time of 1820s and 1830s. And you have labor leaders like Gompers and others who they revere, who played a great role in American history. That's why I brought up the AFL-CIO thing. So I would not want to stress too much on this, because otherwise, if it was just socialist, he wouldn't have got the kind of
He
support.
wouldn't have come so far.
Yeah,
He wouldn't have come.
And the other is
Meera.
that since he publicly acknowledges that he went to Nicaragua, that he
Yeah,
honeymooned
he's
in
not
Moscow,
hiding anything.
he's not hiding anything. So
And
in
still
that
he's getting a
sense,
lot of traction, actually.
In that sense, it's not going to be a disclosure.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a disclosure. And on the other side, Donald Trump also praises Putin and says that he's a good man and we can do business with him. So, so I think that let's see
but
where
all
it goes.
all this must be confusing the American voters terribly.
Yes.
It must be a terribly confusing election for the American voters. And as far as the blacks and Hispanics are concerned, you think that they'll continue, as far as Democrats are concerned, they'll continue to be with Hillary Clinton, and or you think that there is some shift happening there also?
Well, we have to wait and watch. Clearly, I mean, the Hispanics would be given Trump's position on immigration.
Yes.
If he looks like the leading candidate from the Republican side, the Hispanic vote is likely to shift towards the Democrats, whether it's Sanders or Clinton. The African Americans, for the first time when Obama had fought the election, had been enthused into registering and voting in very great numbers. Whether Sanders and Hillary are able to enthuse them to come out in such strength is open. Of course, there are also, the Cuban Americans who may vote for the Republicans. So there are some, subtleties in these blocks. They don't vote totally as a block. There may be African Americans who are richer who would vote for the Republicans. But by and large, you could say that the majority had voted for President Obama.
No, that is the point, Professor Mahapatra, the Obama factor. How is it playing any role at all? Do you think as we go along, as the final Democratic candidate is decided, you think Obama, his legacy will have anything to do in this election?
Obama is the establishment man. and Hillary is also part of the establishment.
No,
Sanders
and
is an outsider.
In 8 years, he has become an establishment. He was not. He was anti.
He was
when
a
he
senator,
came in.
he was part of the party, he was an African American, definitely, an insider with a difference. But Sanders is an outsider. And he is now fighting on this Democratic Party nomination. Two quick points. On 20th of February, in Nevada, there is going to be a primary
Right.
where Hillary Clinton is leading. And on 20th of February, same day, in South Carolina, there is going to be a Republican primary. Now, what is going to happen in these two primaries may give a much clearer picture than at the moment. Whether Hillary Clinton will be able to act the comeback kid, we have to watch in Nevada on 20th of February. Second quick point this, Sanders is making fantastic speeches. It appeals to even me. As a socialist, the kind of picture he's giving about the United States, the reality, it is scary for vast majority of the American people. But the fact remains that even if he wins the election and he becomes the president, he's not the person who's going to make the law. It is the Congress.
No, but
that is why.
That is good. That's good for anybody who's going to become the
That
president.
is true.
Yeah.
That is why the kind of promises he's making, equal pay for men and women, free education across the United States of America. He's going to tax only the rich people. We have to see, because he alone cannot do anything. The system is such, the checks and balances system. Ultimately, it is going to be presidency and Congress. And who is going to dominate the Congress, we don't know yet. So
What about Manoj? What about the pressure from the people? If let us say why Sanders is gaining ground, gaining so much traction is people are feeling, as all of you were mentioning, the anger, the frustration. So is that not going to be of any use in the final run?
See, what I would argue is, as a historian, you got to look at the long trends. I'm looking at wage rates in the US, which have been fairly stagnant almost since the 1980s for middle class people.
Right.
I see this as a way station in the sense that, yes, okay, if Sanders fails, there'll be another election down the line, someone else will. A lot matters on the human being who is there, meaning how he manipulates things.
Exactly.
And yes, and like Donald Trump, you see, sometimes they're surprise human beings. Now, you know, everyone may laugh at Trump, but Trump is a very successful businessman, you know, and he has apparently made a lot of money and has a lot of real estate. Bernie Sanders, he's a senator after all, you know. So the point I'm trying to make is that a certain trend is taking place with this gridlocked Congress and the president versus Congress kind of situation. I think that at some point some things will shift.
Okay.
You know, and this shift will take place. It may take place this time, but it may take place 5 to 10 years down the line. But I think the United States governance system is in dire need of reform, and I think the Americans will soon catch up with that.
Okay. I think on that note, we need to end. The need for reforms is something which America needs, is something which, you know, people, we have all seen it. The way Al Gore lost election, even at that point of time, there was every talk about, you know, the need for a reform, which has not happened. But the way things are moving in the United States right now is something which will be very interesting to keep a close watch on. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, The Big Picture, same time tomorrow.